Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Today we are talking about rounding to the thousands place. I'm so excited because I have saved the best for last this week. Rounding to the thousands place is actually way easier than rounding to the tens or the hundreds because we're rounding just the thousands place and everything else becomes zeros. It's so easy. You're going to be like, wow, we should have started with this. But I like for this to be the last thing we end on because we're building up from tens, hundreds to thousands, and you're going to be so confident with your answers because you already know how to round. So let's go ahead and do a quick review of what rounding is. Today, let's think of an example that has to do with thousands. When I think of thousands, I think of thousands of dollars. Something that you would spend thousands of dollars on is a car. So today we're going car shopping, all right? So I'm going to pretend to go to a used car place, and I'm going to pick out just a nice little car, and the one I'm interested in is worth $5,938. Now, instead of calling up, whoever and saying, hey, I found this great deal on this car, it's only $5,938, I'm going to round that number up and just say, hey, I found this great deal on this car. It's only about $6,000. Because if I underline the thousands, circle to the hundreds, the 9 would tell the 5 to bump up to a 6, and then everything after the comma becomes zeros because we are rounding it to the closest thousands place. And the number 1,000 has 3 zeros in it. So all of our answers today are going to have 3 zeros in them. So the process of rounding to the thousands place, it is just like the tens and the hundreds, except we are moving down to the thousands place. So we're going to underline the thousands place, spotlight the hundreds, draw an arrow from the hundreds to the thousands, and the BFF is going to tell the thousands place to either shove up or to rest, okay? So let's go over our chant together. I know you're just dying to. And let's see if you remember it. What's our chant? 4 or less, let it rest. 5 or above, give it a shove. So that is talking about our circled number. So our hundreds place is going to be bossy this week and tell his best friend in the thousands place what to do. So let's practice. If I have the number 4,315, first I'm going to underline the 4, and then I'm going to circle the 3. I'm spotlighting the 3. When you put a spotlight on somebody, it's like they are the main focus. That's because the 3 has the say. The 3 is important because he is going to tell the 4 what to do. That's why we're drawing an arrow. This is him telling the 4 to either rest or the 4 to shove up to a 5, okay? That's because the closest thousands here are 4,000 and 5,000. We're trying to decide, is he going to round down to 4,000 or round up to 5,000? Well, let's think of our chant. Is this 3, 4 or less, or 5 or above? What do you think? The 3 is 4 or less. 3 is less than 4. So if it's less, we're going to let this 4 rest. The 4 is going to stay 4. It's going to round down. And the 3, the 1, and the 5 are all going to become zeros. That's what makes rounding to the thousands place so simple because everything else just turns into zeros. It's so much easier than the tens and the hundreds because you don't have to worry about bringing down those other digits. You don't have to worry about if it's going to round up to the next hundreds or tens. All you have to worry about is rounding the thousands place and then changing everything after the comma to 3 zeros. It is so easy. I love rounding to the thousands place. You are going to love it because it's so simple. All right, let's try another one. 9,412. Okay, my 2 closest thousands that it's between are 9,000 and 10,000. Okay, that's because after 1,000, if we're skip counting by thousands, 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, the next 1,000 after that is 10,000. So that's why that's our next option. Let's circle the 4, the BFF, and draw an arrow. What is the 4 going to tell the 5 to do? Is the circled number 4 or less or 5 or above? The circled number is 4 or less. So we're going to let the 9 rest, and the 4, the 1, and the 2 are all going to become zeros. So 9,000 is our answer. Let's try one a little bit harder. I still think it's super easy though, okay? So we're going to underline the 7. We're going to spotlight the 5. The 5 is going to tell the 7 to shove up or rest. What do you think? Think, is this 4 or less or 5 or above? If you said 5 or above, you're right. So 5 or above, we're going to give the 7 a shove. It's going to shove up to an 8, and the 5, the 0, and the 3 are all going to become zeros. It's going to round to 8,000. We're going to do a couple more together, and then you are done. And you can go watch my next video on how to actually do it on pencil and paper, okay? So for this one, we're going to underline the 1, circle the hundreds, which is a 0. What does the 0 tell the 1 to do? Is the 0 4 or less or 5 or above? What do you think? If you said 4 or less, you are right. 0 is the smallest number. So it's going to tell it to rest. The 1's going to rest, and the other 3 digits become zeros. It's so easy. All right, last one together. We're going to underline the 2 because it's in the thousands place. We are going to circle the 7 because it's in the hundreds place, the BFF. Remember, the BFF is always right beside his best friend, okay? So they're not going to be spread apart. The 7's going to be right there, okay? So the BFF for the thousands place is the hundreds. What is the 7 telling the 2 to do here? Is this 4 or less, let it rest, or is this 5 or above, give it a shove? What do you think? If you said 5 or above, give it a shove, you are right. We're going to shove it up to a 3, and then the 7, the 9, and the 8 all become zeros, and we're done. So that is how you round to the thousands place. If you have any questions at all, you need to go ahead and watch my next video because I'm going to show you how to round on paper the steps that you're going to be doing at home when you're doing your test this week, when you are practicing. You should always be showing your work on pencil and paper, okay? You should not just be relying on the computer screen to do it for you. You need to actually get a pencil in your hand, sit down, write the number down you're rounding, and then underline whatever place you're rounding to and show your work. I promise if you do that, it's going to help your brain stay a lot more organized. I'm going to talk more about that in my next video on Wednesday. Okay? Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you have a great week. Good luck!